Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. Raheem here. We're going to slay some demons today. This presentation is partially a response to some comments that have been made. You keep talking about this war is going to come, this war is coming, this war is coming, nothing's coming. War is coming, nothing happens. Yes, I keep talking about it. I'm going to continue to keep talking about it because it's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner than a lot of you think. And a lot of you are going to be caught up in it. I explained some of these things. I present the angel out there, broke the seals, put it out there for you to study, show you, give you examples and walk you through some of it. It's not my job to tell you what it means. It's my job to give it to you so you can study it. The angel is meant to be studied. It's meant to be uploaded, installed, your new mind to get through this time of unprecedented trouble. So if you don't want to study it, then don't come back at me saying, well, this didn't happen, that didn't happen, because you can study and verify what I'm saying is true or not. And we're going to talk about that partially as we go on. I prepared a small presentation to support what I'm trying to tell you right now. Brothers and sisters and brothers, there's a lot happening. You see, they're telling you now, they warn you, this virus is about to spin out of control. It's out of control already. If they're telling you it's about to spin out of control, it means already it's spin out of control. If you still trust in the media, then you're lost soul. So I'm going to say a couple of things, and we'll get right into the presentation. Any of you that saw this so-called broadcast yesterday, it was sickening. You know why? That old broadcast? Now, okay, let's look this way. You went to work all week, you work your butt off, and all your coworkers, they didn't do anything. They sit around, and you did the work. Now comes payday, and they get paid the same thing you get paid, and you say, well, wait a minute, what's going with that? Well, how does that work? I mean, if I do nothing, I would get paid anyway. You might have a problem with that. But that's what Mr. Farrakhan's telling you. Because if you watch the broadcast Sunday, they got this Mexican person, which is Ishmael's friend from Mexico, which they fled to Mexico. They claimed it was with the messenger. They were so much supporting the messenger's message, but his mother fled to Mexico, left the country, like so many others. With all the money they could get their hands on, left the country. Why? Why leave the country? Why they stay here and support? They say, oh, we stuck with the messenger's message. Why leave the country? Get outside the country. All the money they could take, and they was gone. And they would have still been here now if Farrakhan hadn't brought them back. Guaranteed their safety. So they go down there, and Ishmael, he admits he was smoking. He was supporting his father. He was getting high all the time, smoking all kinds of reefer. That's what he admits it. Telling him how that was supporting his father. See? But then, they change the stories back and forth. So these people. So he makes his Mexican friends. So one day he comes back. And he brings Mexican friends back, lifts them up, supports them, set them up. So they buddy. So now, hey, he's in charge, right? So now his buddy, hey, he's hanging in there too, because hey, they got me a green card, they got all that stuff, right? So now he's supposed to be an FOI, this Mexican. He's FOI now, a white Mexican. See? The Mexicans didn't get white like that from a lightning bolt. The Spanish came over here and raped the women. That's how they got light. That means they're the Spanish seed. See, they're not the original. But that aside, so now he puts him in an FOI uniform, and he's leading the prayer. He's lecturing to the FOI, and now they're going, because he already said he wants to bring devils into the NOI. He already stated. And we got the video to prove it. He stated it openly. And this is like the frog in the cool water. He gradually turn it up until he's cooked. Don't realize it's too late. Preparing you for the individuality of bringing devils into the NOI. That would destroy it. That's his intention. Any fool would tell you that would destroy it. It's already crippled. That would end it. So he has him in here. He's wearing an FOI uniform. And now they're going so far as telling me if that was insult to injury. Well, they're part of the Abrahamic covenant. See, because we're all together. We're all one. So what reward we get, they get it too. What? They were slave owners too. When did any one of them ever stand up and say, hey, let's help these poor black folks up in America, go to war, help them? Not one Mexican ever stood up and said anything. Not even now, they don't do it. You see, blacks, oh man, we got to help those poor Mexicans. But when you see men say, help we poor blacks, have no problem coming taking your jobs, setting up shop in your neighborhoods and dissing you. But now, they're the seed, we the seed of Abraham, but they get the same reward we get for 40 years of suffering. How does that work? That's what he's saying. We're all one people, so we all get the reward. We all suffer. We all then suffer together. No one went through what we went through, and everybody was against us. And now we see, you understand, that I told you have enemies everywhere. So now, not only they're trying to prevent us, but just in case we're successful, right? They want to ride on our backs now. Even then, oh no, we part of this too. We get the reward too. You go to promised land, we part of that too. We suffer too. We are inheritors of the Abrahamic promise too. See? So now they want to piggyback on our reward. Piggyback on our reward that we suffer for. And he says they're entitled to that. That's what Ishmael's saying. They're entitled to that. How in the hell does that work? That shows you how much disdain they have for Abrahamic covenant, how much disdain they have for what Elijah Muhammad built. Because where in the hell that you're going to put an FY uniform that we earned, we suffered, so many died for, on anyone other than Abraham's seed that earned it? 40 years of suffering and slavery, we earned it. They did not. And to put them in that uniform, I use an analogy that I don't really particularly like this analogy, but you get the point. You got these so-called SEALs, right? Navy SEALs, right? And they get the right to wear certain dress, wear certain uniforms. Then this clown just walks into the military, just walks in and has no skills in anything. He wants to put on that uniform. They would go AWR. They go in, they berserk. You didn't earn that. You can't wear that. So anybody can just put on an FY uniform now. Anybody. They say they want to bring devils, they can put them on too. So that means when they come in, right, then you're your brother and sister now. See, they claim we're all different, but how are they going to be different if they're your brother and sister now? That was sickening. And I don't want to even waste time unpacking it because, I mean, that whole thing was just sickening. I get sick trying to unpack the whole thing. Whole thing was sickening from start to finish. Had no idea what it's talking about, but that right there, that will catch you. If that doesn't wake up anyone, you understand? If it doesn't wake you up, then you are more than asleep. You're dead. I'm telling you, Scripture says there's dissension in there. See, you have Elijah's followers and you have Aaron's followers. You have Elijah's followers and Pharaoh's followers, Moses' followers and Aaron's followers. And there's contention there. And it says Elijah's followers are going to overcome Aaron's followers and put them down. Elijah's followers overcome Pharaoh's followers at a certain point in time and put them down. And it's going to happen this year when the war starts. The war that everybody keeps talking about. Oh, you keep talking about it ain't happening. You keep talking about this war, man. And it's so stupid. Because if the war took place when you thought it was going to take place, what would happen to you? Just like people saying, hey, man, you've been talking this flood for 100 years. It ain't going to happen yet. Well, if it had happened 100 years ago, you got drowned, wouldn't you, fool? Because you wasn't in the ark, was you? See how stupid that argument is? Because if it had happened one time, your ass would have been drowned. See? So I see it didn't happen. Yeah, well, you better be glad it didn't happen. It's so stupid. But like I said, we don't reward stupidity here. Stupidity is part of the culling process. Remove the stupid out of touch, out of sync with time, right? Remove them out of the population to keep our nation vibrant, strong, and healthy. Their stupidity just gets worse. So let's go into the lecture. Not the lecture presentation. I don't lecture anyone. I want to say a couple of things about that first. The book of Daniel is a supplement to the Injil, or what you call Revelations. The book of Daniel has 12 chapters. The book of Revelation, or the Injil, or the Gospel, has 22 chapters. However, the 13th chapter has all the major symbols that you find in the book of Daniel. That's the only place you find them. You don't find them any place else in the Injil, just 13th chapter. But Daniel only has 12 chapters. And both books are sealed. And that's where they converge at. See, because the 13th chapter of Injil is the 13th chapter of Daniel. So I once said they're connected together. Because one explains the others. Because in other words, one highlights certain ideas, certain concepts or whatever. The other one doesn't because of the nature of them. Right? But both of them tells you that it's the book for the end times. The Quran does not tell you it's the book for the end times. It's the book for time Muhammad. If you read chapter 20 of the Injil, it tells you that they only had 1,000 years to rule. They would only rule for 1,000 years. And then Gog and Magog will come and displace them. See, they try and drag you back 1,400 years back to the prophet's empire. So when you don't understand the Injil, then you understand these things. Read chapter 20. That's the resurrection. Right? When they talk about the resurrection, that's the Prophet Muhammad. Remember, he resurrected Islam of Abraham. See? And it lasted 1,000 years. And then after 1,000 years, Magog and God will come on scene and encompass the entire planet. So they try to drag you back, trying to drag you back to something outdated. See, the Quran's outdated. It has benefits, but it's outdated for revelation about what to do. You won't find COVID-19 and none of that stuff in there. A lot of stuff about what's going on right now, you will not find in there because it was a book for a previous time, just like the books before it, the books 10,000 years before. Where are those books? Aren't they Allah's revelations? Why are they not here now? One day the Quran will no longer be here. One day the Injil will no longer be here because they're outdated. The times changes. So they want to drag you back. Those of you going to be dragged, fine. We want you to be dragged back because you can't go forward. If you're going backwards, you can't go forward. You can't do it both at the same time. That's the culling process. That means we're being rid of you because you can't move forward into time. You're out of sync with the universe. You're out of sync with time. You're out of sync with circumstances. See? So therefore, the future, the present, right, is a dam for you. You can't get past it. To move into the future is just a disaster for you because you just be more out of sync. And death is when you're out of sync with the universe. Dying is when you you become you become you beginning to become out of sync as you're fading, right? Your relevance fades. It's fading. So as we become totally out of sync, then you're dead. See? You bring somebody from 1,400 years ago, the wisest person, bring him here today, they'd be out of touch. They could understand this. They'd be confused. Though they may have been wise back then, the wisest person, they'd be confused right now. Because they'd be out of sync with the universe, out of sync with time. And that's the situation with Adam. Adam is now out of sync. He's going out of sync. That's why he's dying. He's moving out of sync with time. His time is past. That's what it means. No nation go past his time. See? Has a term. And when they come out of sync, there's nothing you can do. Change it. And so you hear in the broadcast, oh, well, they're going to get Nineveh to repent. First, they'll understand the story. Yeah, Nineveh, the great city, and Nineveh, and just Nineveh. See? The one that repented was the Nation of Islam, right? They repented of Farrakhan. They got rid of, said the king sat in your ashes. Why you sit in the ashes? Your ashes are burnt up. They don't pay attention to these things. You see? So I have things we're going to unpack about that. I'm not going to waste. I'm not because it's a waste of time, right? I just said one other thing. If you watch the broadcast, says if the people are called by a name, that means it's not his name. They're called by his name. See, they're called by his name. That means them. It says and repent, whatever. Right? I will heal their land. See, he's trying to say it's talking about us. This is not our land. So he can't be talking about us. Say, I'll heal their land. We don't have a land. The Abrahamic covenant says this is not our land. It said to be taken to a land that's not theirs. That's sure you got talking about us. It said they will repent, heal their land, but they're not going to repent. That's what the lessons tell you. Not talking about us. He's trying to make, again, he's talking about we're evil, we're sinful, all this stuff, and all that applies. It doesn't apply to us. We're not evil, sinful people. That's lies, and they're going to pay a price for telling it. You're not sinful. You're righteous people. That's why Farah come to get you. Elijah Muhammad said, and I showed that before, he says, we cannot be judged because we act on ourselves. Because we're forced to act on ourselves because we obey the law. To obey the law, that means you act other than yourself. If the law is another people's law, another nation's law, it's another culture. That means your only way you can survive it, you have to act other than yourself. That means you can't be judged. Only people can judge you is the only people that judge is the people that's forcing you to act that way. You don't blame the product, you blame the manufacturer. You don't blame niggers. Niggers were made in America. You made the people that made the niggers. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's move into the presentation. See if I can make this larger. And okay. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's look at this. The delay. I call it the delay. Now I'm going to try to explain this as best I can. It's not very complicated if you're studying the angel. If you look in chapter 7, it talks about this angel having the seal of God rising up to seal the elect. Okay? See a picture of that there. And we see what happens is, right, that there's 144,000, there's 12,000 for each level, right? If you have 12,000 on each level altogether, it's 144,000 altogether, okay? But only 24,000 are sealed. So at the top seal, if you read it carefully, on the top is sealed, the top tribe, Judah, and the bottom, Benjamin. Those only two are sealed. It also tells you who's sealed, but it also tells you what time frame it is, because the war hasn't started yet. So this was rising up, right? It wasn't started yet. And what is he saying? He's saying, I saw 4 angels. I'll make this a little larger. I saw 4 angels having stood upon the 4 corners of earth, holding back the 4 winds. Now the 4 winds, they blow when the war starts. So it's being held back. They're commanding, who is this person? Isn't that the Lamb? He's commanding the 4 winds to hold back until the sealing takes place. So in other words, they were supposed to blow. If you study chapter 11, like I explained before, I broke the math down to you. The actual war was supposed to start in between June and July. That's when the war was actually start. And I mentioned there in that presentation, right, that the math takes you up to there, and at that point, it's up to Farad to do his thing. But I mentioned that there was a limit, that this would happen anytime between then and the election. So how can I tell you that it would definitely happen before a certain time? Because you have to understand the angel. And like it says, if the master of the house knew what hour, right, this house would be broken into, he would not allow it. So a lot of things I can't tell you, bro, sister, because I said it's telling you right there. If I tell you, I'm telling them. If they knew the exact time, right, they would act to prevent it. It would be very disastrous for many of you. So pay attention to this closely. Pay attention to this carefully, right? It's saying here that they have been held back until he's sealed, right? The sealing takes place. Okay? That's not going to work. See? Okay. Then the next. Okay. Let's see. Make this a little larger, hopefully. That'll help. Okay. Okay, this one tells you, right, that only the 12,000 at the top was sealed and 12,000 at the bottom was sealed, right? Again, I said this is time frame. So in the middle there, you have 120,000 that were not sealed. So read it carefully. Only 2 tribes was actually sealed. The first and the last one, the one at the bottom. But there's 120,000 there. Altogether, that's 144,000. Pay attention closely. See? Pay close attention. Let's see if I make this big, because for some reason, okay, leave it like that. I think it's good enough. Okay, but I'm having trouble with getting this to come out properly. Okay, again, what this shows here. Shows 12,000 at the top, 12,000 at the bottom, 12,000 at the top, 12,000 at the bottom, 120,000 in the middle. What's going on with that 120,000 there? What's going on with that? Okay, let's see. Okay. Just like this. Okay. Now, let me make this a little larger here. Okay, this gets back to Jonah. Okay. Now, what was the problem with Jonah? The problem that Jonah had was, right? This is Nineveh situation, everything. The problem with Jonah was, is that the destruction was delayed. He was trying to prevent it from being delayed. That's why he fled, because he knew if he warned Nineveh, they might repent. See, Nineveh, the great city. Nineveh, the great city, represents America. Nineveh represents the nation of Islam. So he fled because he didn't want to delay anything, and he was correct, because once he came back and he taught, right, he preached, there was delay. Now here tells you why there was a delay. That's why I say you have to put all these scriptures together, right? It says the reason the delay was because there's 120,000 who don't know their right hand from their left. So he wanted to give more time to sort that out. See, there's the delay. There's 120,000 there that wasn't sealed. So they had, the sealing took place, but had to give them a delay for them to sort it out. So he had to keep preaching, because there's 120,000 that could not distinguish their left hand from the right. In other words, they couldn't sort out Elijah Muhammad's teachings from lying Farrakhan's teachings, because Farrakhan presented himself as being teaching Elijah Muhammad's teachings, which he is not even close. Anybody that's objective and go and research know that he is not teaching Elijah Muhammad's teachings, but he's saying he is. He's using Elijah Muhammad's teachings, the message of the black man, fall of America, height to live, and everything, as bait for his hook of Scientology and Sudaism and all other BS. Why does he have these people going to Sunni mosque when, if you go there and you ask those people about Elijah Muhammad, they would spit on Elijah Muhammad. And they call Farad a fraud. So why would you go to their church, people that despise, right, your God and your messenger? Think about that one. But that's where they are, because that's what he's teaching. He despises the covenant. He despises Elijah Muhammad. He despises the message. He's working for the FBI. He's a paid informant. That's the whole idea behind auditing, to get information, intel on those who follow him, so he can blackmail them, coerce them, right? Intimidate them, whatever. Anyway, so now you put the puzzle together. So that's the delay. That's the delay. It said it would be delayed. So according to chapter 11 of the Injil, right, if you do the math there, June and July should have been the time that the war would have taken place. However, right, the war is not taking place yet because there will be a delay. It tells you very clearly here. It tells you both in chapter 7 of the Injil, where it says, he said, hold back the four winds, hold them back. And it also tells you in Jonah, where it says, hold them back. Because there's 120,000, put the math on it, so you will not, so you can be very clear, you will not be confused, unless you just want to be confused. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Hold back the four winds. Okay, so here we have it again, right? He said, hold those four winds back. Who are the four winds? Those are the four winds there, right? The first trumpet to blow was the fifth one. The fifth one, and then the sixth would blow, and the sixth one was the ones holding back the first four. I tried to explain that. The first trumpet that falls is the fifth one. The first one that blows is the fifth one, right? The sixth one holds back the first four. He's the next one to blow, the sixth one. But he holds back the first four. That's why it's telling them, hold back the four winds, hold back the four angels. See, they call them four angels, four winds, or whatever. Hold them back. See, now he's telling them, right, to release them. It's time to release them. Now it's time to release them. See, he's holding them back, right? See, he's telling them right here, don't do anything. Don't blow, don't do anything. He's talking about, don't blow anything, right, until, right, they're sealed, right, the elect. So we're staying there. So there you go. Now the war takes place and the winds blow. That's when the winds blow, because all this happened at the same time. Once the war takes place, the winds, once Babylon falls, the war takes place, Michael and his angels go to war with the dragon's angels. Michael, Farad and his angels, the Shia prevail. They kick them out of the Middle East. Babylon falls, and that's when the four winds blow. They have it right there. And if you see chapter 10, it's talking about his hand, the hand, if that's stepping down, right? He put his feet on the water, 1 foot on his land, 1 foot on the earth, 1 foot on the sea, and his right hand. So that means that's the four winds, because his 2 hands or 2 feet are the four winds. So when he puts his, right, when he puts his hand there, right, that means, right, the four winds have blown. That's what's saying right here, because the four winds blow, and then the resurrection takes place at that time. There it is. The resurrection of the wheat and the chaff says, let them go together. And at the harvest time, right, at the harvest time, we'll gather them all together, right? That's the demons and the saints, and then we'll take the demons or the chaff or the weeds, and we'll throw them back in the fire. That's what's happening here, brothers. That's the four winds blowing. Okay, so let me say a couple of things about that. Now, how can I say that this is going to happen before the election day? When's the election? In November. Now, I can't say too much here. I'm being very, very discerning about what I'm about to say. So be very careful here. Don't want to give too much information. Let's go back here. Got to be very careful here. Election day is in November. So that means these four winds have to blow before then. So I'm just going to say this much. Now, we're in September now. So that means all we have is September and October. That's 2 months. So there's a curious thing that says, when the four winds blow, right, it's talking about when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies. and the winds blow. And it's talking about, it says, flee to the mountains. That's talking about the resurrection, the blacks coming together. They're going to come together. They're coming together. They're coming together, just like in so-called civil rights movement. They came together, then they split, right? Between the one integrate, one separate. They're coming together again for those who wants to stay here and wants to leave. The demon-possessed man, remember, read it in Mark, the one in Mark. See, the demons want to stay. So please don't make me lead a country. Ask yourself why he says that. Why does Farrakhan say that? He's Legion. Louis Eugene grounds the NOI backwards. The first thing he says, Jesus, please don't make me lead a country. He don't want to leave the country. He wants to stay here. See, so once he was cast out, then the demon-possessed man, the NOI, right? Now he's got his mind. Jesus restores his mind back to him. Then he's free of demons. He wants to leave. He's begging Jesus to leave with him. He had two things. One wanted to stay here and ended up going into swine, and the other one wanted to leave. So he had two. One wanted to stay and one wanted to leave. The demons wanted to stay, and the man, free of demons now with his right mind, he wants to leave. So you got to pay attention to these things, brothers and sisters. That's the division. The demons, master's children, the house niggas, so to speak, right? They want to stay. Those are demons. There's master's children. Master's seed, they're the wheat, the weeds, and the chaff, the tares. But the original people, they want to stay. They want to go. Now, as I said backwards, I says the legion, the demons, they want to stay. They want to stay here. See, they beg Jesus, please don't make us leave the country. They don't want us to leave. They want to stay. They want to stay here with master, swine, daddies. But the demon-possessed man, not possessed anymore, he's free of demons. He wants to leave. He begs Jesus to leave with him. He has his right mind back. He's not beating himself up anymore. He's not lost in this democratic party. He's free of that. Now he wants to leave. But Jesus said, no, you cannot leave. See, he's on his way with the elect. Read Daniel. First, those in the Lamb's book, the elect, there, right? That's when you see the elect, the 12,000 we talked about, they go. But the rest, that in the 120,000 group, they stay. Because they didn't wake up in time. They got to go through tribulation, everlasting life. So they get to the hereafter, but they have to go through tribulation to get there. It talks about that. In that same chapter, chapter 7, it says, who are they who came to the great tribulation? See, but they had to go through tribulation. And that's the whole reason why this whole thing is being held up, brothers and sisters, to try to get many of you to go out first class and not have to go to tribulation. That's why all this has been held back. But it's not going to be held back for so long because remember, they have a plan and Farah has a plan. And Farah has a best of plans. And he knows when they're going to implement their plan. So he has to make his plan before they implement theirs. Because it said those days were not shortened, no soul will survive. So he has to move before they move. And we know they will definitely move sometime after the election. See? Or they might try to move before now, then, based on what I'm saying. So I have to be careful what I'm saying. So you have to go and study and read things, brothers and sisters. But I was getting to this point. It says, flee to the mountain. It says, pray that your flight will not be in the winter or on the Sabbath day. Now, what does that mean? Why? What's so special about the so-called Sabbath? Some people say it's Saturday, some Sunday. It's not what they're talking about, brothers and sisters. It says, pray that your flight will not be. They're fleeing to the mountains. That's the resurrection of all blacks coming together. Make sure that happens, right? Make sure it doesn't happen on the Sabbath or in the winter. Now, when's the Sabbath? See, you have to study and understand these things. We know the winter starts in December, right? So we don't know what happened during that time. We didn't start December. But what's the Sabbath? And why you connect those two together? Because the Sabbath is the seventh month, which is September. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. The seventh month is not from January. It's from March. March is the first month of the year. They change everything else. March begins, the first year begins in spring. The biblical first of the month is March, the first day of spring. In fact, that was universal until the Romans changed it. Until they made January because the Emperor Junus wanted to make his birth month the first of the year. But the original first year, and was universal, was the beginning of spring. That makes sense. That's the first part of the year. Beginning of spring is the first part of the year. 21st of March is the beginning of the year. That's the real new year. That's the scriptural new year. That was the universal new year. The Romans changed that because it's no sense. It makes no sense for January the 1st. What's so special about January the 1st? Okay. But that was Emperor Junus' birthday. So he said, okay, because they would try to change the time and the seasons. The first year is the first day of March. That would make September, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, the Sabbath month. So in other words, it says prayer don't be on that and in the winter. That means that leaves you what? October and November. So we'll see. I'm putting it out there. So if we get to December and nothing's happened, okay. I'm telling you that now because we're so close. I'm not telling you exactly. I could be more exact than that. I'm not telling you exactly because war's about to happen. See, I'm only telling you about the 4 winds. I'm not telling you exactly the day the war's going to start. Any of that. I'm just telling you that it'd be in that period. The flight would be in that period of time. That's why I can tell you what happened before election. So those of you out there trying to make a big thing out of this, or he don't know, he just saying, he just keep guessing. No, I made it very clear. I said it would happen before election day. And there would be a delay. I said it happened before election day. I also said that according to chapter 11, right, the war should start in between June and July. But it tells you there will be a delay. It says it right there clearly. It will be delayed. Why? For you. For those of you that are still trying to figure this thing out. Because some of you are legitimately trying to figure this out. You're confused. You're not against it. But you're hearing all this noise. You know, these clowns, especially in social media. Oh boy, you're talking about a swine. I'm talking about a cesspool. Ooh. You find all kinds of garbage out here on the social media. But that's what we got to work at. That's why people are in. See, and Farage reduced everybody to social media now. See, just close these churches down and everything else. So we're on equal battleground now. And we have the truth. And all they got is BS and stuff they put out there behind calling it honey. Don't smell like honey, does it? Does it satisfy you? Is it sweet? They got to add sugar to it? Because they don't bring any scriptures to you. So, brothers, I hope that settled an argument there. Settled how that debate, if there's a debate that you're pondering over, if you're lost in. Because everything we say here, we can back up, support with scripture. But there's so much stuff I can't focus on everything. There's some people out there trying to support, trying to help. And all that's appreciated, not by me, but for all the believers that are awakened by it. Because you're not doing it for me, doing it for yourself. This is time to make your bones, brothers and sisters. See, it's times like this that people become king and queens. How do you think king and queen? Because when they stood up and fought, when it was dark, when everybody else was hiding and cowering in the darkness, they stood and fought. So when the light came on, they was in charge. Now they're the king and queens, and they pass on to their children, and so forth and so on. How do you think they become like that? See? The wise, the winners, right? They use the darkness, right? To improve, to get that edge. Because they know in the darkness, the winners, the weakers, the weak, the losers, they sleep, they're hiding. See, when times go bad, right? They back there smoking, drinking, complaining, regretting and everything else. See? And so when the light comes on, they find themselves standing on the edge of a cliff. While the winners, man, they was taking that time to, hey, get that edge, man. Practically kept on focusing and pushing forward, right? And improving. So when the light came on, man, hey, now they're ready. Now losers got to start trying to catch up. See? This is time to make your bones, brothers and sisters, stand up. Show who you are. Be recognized. See? To get that gold ring. Or maybe the silver one. Because you stood up. How did the lamb become the lamb? Think about it. It says he became a lamb, right? He was slain from the fountain of the earth, but say he was the only one that was worthy. Think about worthy. Worthy and ability is two different things. You can have the ability but do nothing with it. Worthy means you accomplish it. You did it. You put the work in. He put the work in. It says, look like he was slain from the foundation of the earth. So he put the work in. Just like for God, how he became the God. He's not a natural God. Elijah Muhammad said he's not a natural God, he's a made God. But he put the work in. He got the knowledge of what it takes to be a God, and he put the work in. That made him worthy. And so he's doing that in this time of unprecedented trouble. So therefore he will be the God, because he controls the whole earth, because he put the work in. So now your time to shine, brothers and sisters, especially you brothers out there. Then the sisters will respect you. It's time to shine now. Shine, step forward. Grab hold of this truth. Upload this angel and install it. And get out there and take care of business. See, because you doing it for yourself. You're also doing it for your nation. But your nation will appreciate it because they will take and, see, give you the respect for waking them up. Because you stood up and you took care of business when it was really dark. So what you going to do? Wait, after the light comes on, now you're going to stand up? Who cares then? We don't need you then, do we? That's when you make your bones, you make your mark. Elijah made his mark. Elijah will remember forever. You see? Because he stood up in the darkness when they was hanging niggas for nothing. I mean, you know, they was hanging black folks for nothing. That was sport. That was things on the weekends. They didn't have NFL and all that kind of stuff. So that was their weekend thing. Let's grab a nigga. And they put it in the newspaper. They had, some of you go Google it. It's found on the internet. They were taking pictures. They wouldn't hide it. The police and everything was on it. They would put in the newspaper, we're going to hang a nigga on the weekend. They had the children, they gathered around, they burned them, hang whatever. Everybody's laughing and joking. They just grabbed some off the street. They didn't care. And during those days, if you was a good Negro doing, of course, no problem, you was a target too. Because there's something wrong with that Negro. He ain't doing nothing bad. He must be one of those slick niggas. We definitely got to get him. And Elijah Muhammad was standing toe to toe fighting these people during that time. No, this is not the time of Elijah. The time of Elijah's passed. But he made his bones. He made his mark. Now it's the time of Jonah. Aaron stepped up. You see what Aaron did? He copped out. See, that's why Allah took his balls. Because he had none. Because he punked out. As soon as Elijah left, he punked out. See, they came to him. They told him, either you go along with our program, you better go check him out. You either go along with our program or you're going to be in jail the rest of your life. They ain't bothering him because he's working for them. That's why they ain't got to him. You think they can't get to Farrakhan? So, oh, they can't get. Well, okay, if he's protected, like he claims he's protected, they can't get to him, then how come they damn near killed him with the cancer? And he claims, oh man, I got all this power, right? And I got to control this plague and all that kind of stuff. And all you got to do is believe in me and you don't have a problem to play. Well, why you wearing a mask then? You said nothing can protect you from this plague. It's Allah's will. Then you mean a mask can protect you from Allah's will? It's all bullshit. But they came to him and told him, says, either you play ball or you go to jail for the rest of your life. It's easy to get to him. All they had to do is go ask one of those little guys, those whoever the brothers, wherever they were, that they claimed killed Malcolm. They had those brothers so far under the ground that they had to get a congressional permission to take a breath. All they had to do is go and tell him, say, all you got to do is implicate Farrakhan in this. He was gone. I don't care how many lawyers they had, he was gone. They control the justice, everything. They wanted him that bad. He was gone. Period. Case closed. Nothing that will stop that. Well, he said, whoa, I was protecting him. Well, he didn't protect from that cancer, did he? He's not protected. He's capitulated. He's working for them. The son of perdition says the works of Satan. He's working with them. Go read this webcast from 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, they explained what the FBI Hoover's mission was. To stop the Nation of Islam from thinking nation. Don't think, just make a religious organization. Forget about this building stuff. You know, he don't do any of that stuff. He ain't building anything. You give him money. He ain't building anything in 42 years. And he's probably trying to get you, he's trying to get you to think, we don't want to go nowhere. See, about the separatism, stop that separatism app too. That's what he said. We ain't going nowhere. Read it. It's right there. He has it on his own webcast. He has it on his own webcast. See? Stop them from thinking separatists. Oh, we ain't going nowhere. That's what he says, right? We want to stay here. Right? We ain't building anything. You see? We want to bring devils in NOI. He's pushing that program because they got him. They would have had him out of the ball, but they took his balls away. Right? And now they pissed off at him because he ain't moved fast enough. He can tell you he's got this one more thing to do. What you think one more thing is? That the finish off Nation of Islam for good. Because if he left there tomorrow, there would be no Nation of Islam left. Not his Nation of Islam. There would be nothing left. What is there left? He ain't built anything. He ain't got nobody to support him. I mean, he got nobody that's going to succeed him. Who's going to succeed him? Ishmael? Or he going to be on the iPhone? Oh, I'm talking to Farrakhan on the wheel. Well, if he's on the wheel with Elijah, what did they need him for? I mean, Ishmael was doing enough stuff around and trying to pull that off. Until they've been impaled in his dumb ass. So now, brothers and sisters, you think about those things. So delay right now, right, and it's only to make sure that we got everyone that can possibly wake up, that we can wake up in time. That's what it says right there. The 120,000. They can't distinguish the right hand from the left. That means they can't distinguish Elijah Muhammad's teaching from Farrakhan's teaching because the Farrakhan's lying about it, complaining he's representing Elijah Muhammad. So they read Message of Black Man. Yeah, right, but that's not what they get it. Right? That's debate. When they come in, they get the hook. And that's nothing. They don't get none of that at all. Okay, brothers and sisters, hope you understand. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters.